Detecting additional hostile contacts.
Hey everyone, I'm Agent Ghost and welcome to the archives. Before we get into the video, I just want to first apologize for not bringing any new videos out for a while, for like 2 or 3 weeks now. I've unfortunately been sick with COVID, or caught COVID, along with the rest of my family, and it stemmed from a co-worker from one of my family members got COVID. Well, 5 of them actually, those 5 co-workers, and you know, it spreads like a disease, who knew? So I've just been recovering and helping my family and dealing with, you know, IRL stuff and everything, so I haven't had time to really make anything, even though I've just kind of been sitting there feeling crummy and wanted to make videos. There's been a lot of news and a lot of cool things coming out for the Division, and I'm excited to try and, you know, create more content for you guys moving forward as I recover. I'm happy to report that yesterday was the first day I was able to taste food again. Woo! Anyway, without further ado, I just wanted to say that real quick. I'm excited to bring you this headshot Heartbreaker build. I've been working on it off and on since my last Heartbreaker video, and I just thought this would be a good start off as the return from my recovery. So without further ado, let's move on to the build breakdown. Now, starting things off with the specialization, I'm using the Firewall specialization to have access to the Striker Shield. But to be fair with this build, you can honestly use it with any specialization. It does not matter, and that goes into the disclaimer I like to say for all my build videos, is please use this as a starting template and make any changes that you see fit or want, whether that's the specialization, weapons, gear, or skills. Please do so and just have fun and experiment. That's one of the biggest enjoyments I have with the game. Now, moving on to the weapons, I'm using the AC-12 shotgun since it's one of the full auto shotguns, one of 3 in the game, and it works perfectly with us building stacks for our Heartbreaker armor and stacks and everything. So the only thing I want to make note of is I have damage to targets out of cover in the regular attribute. It is the highest current multiplicative attribute in the game. You can pause and take a look at all the others if you're interested, and then I've re-rolled Flatline on it for this build under the talents. And there are the mods. If you want to pause, you can take a look and absolutely do so. Now moving on to the other weapon I'm using the MK16. Now I'm going to give a shout out to, there were quite a few people in my last Heartbreaker video, but there was one individual specifically that gave me a lot of tips and a lot of things. I'm going to show that on screen now and give him a shout out, but thank you so much. I was experimenting, having fun with this versus the usual Kingbreaker I use, which is still great, and I love the Kingbreaker, but this is a great alternative if you don't want to deal with the horrendous recoil that comes with the Kingbreaker. Now I have damage to armor rolled on mine, which is the second best attribute in my opinion for guns in the game, and still in some cases can be better than damage targets out of cover. As I was farming, I was only able to get this one. I could not get one damage targets out of cover, so damage to armor works perfectly fine. Now again, I've re-rolled Flatline in the talent in order to take full advantage of that synergy with the Heartbreaker gear set, as well as there are the mods. If you want to copy and paste, please do so. I just tried to turn this as accurate and as quick into a reloading thing as possible, just because our main focus is headshot damage with this build versus like crit hit chance and crit damage. Now for my sidearm, you can again pretty much use whatever you want, but I'm using the Liberty exotic pistol. I will leave down in the description below a link to a guide on how you can get this pistol. Again, I have damage targets out of cover rolled on mine. There are the attributes, but I'm using this because I thought it would have great synergy since I'm not using technician specialization with my shield. I don't use it that often, but it's just that much more survivability. And what it does is it comes with the talent Liberty or Death. Hits grant plus 2% damage, stacks up to 30 times. Headshots consume all stacks, repairing your shield for 3% per stack. So just again adds that much more survivability for our shield since we don't have the Artificer Hive to help regenerate stuff with our shield. Now moving on from the weapons, I'm going to go to the gear set, starting off with the Heartbreaker chest piece. And for the gear set bonuses, so when you have 2 pieces of the Heartbreaker, you get plus 15% assault rifle damage. Very important for our MK16, 15% LMG damage. We're not using LMGs. 3 pieces, we get 15% weapon handling, which affects all the good stuff right under here for weapon handling. You know, the accuracy, stability, and reload time. It just helps with all that. So it's super nice for that, as well as for the for having 4 pieces, we get the talent Heartstopper, which headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds, which is very important for this headshot build. That's how we're going to apply our pulse. And then weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies up to a max of 50 stacks. 2 stacks are lost each second. So we're going to have plus 50% bonus armor and weapon damage once we get max stacks, which is just crazy. That's why I love the Heartbreaker gear set. As well as for having the chest piece, we get access to the talent Max BPM, which increases max stacks for Heartstopper from 50 to 100. So boom, now we get 100% bonus armor and 100% weapon damage bonus, which is just insane. In the core attribute, I have 170,000 armor rolled. In the regular attribute, I have 6.7% headshot damage and 9.7% headshot damage mod. Now moving on to the mask, we've already gone over that. So in the core attribute, I have 122,000 armor. You can get that to 170,000. In the regular attribute, I have 6% crit chance. I honestly would probably re-roll that for headshot damage, but it's not a big deal. And then plus 10% headshot damage mod. And for the Heartbreaker holster, I have 170,000 armor in the core attribute and plus 10% headshot damage. For the hands and final piece of the Heartbreaker, once again 170,000 armor and 7.1% headshot damage. Now, for the knee guards, I'm using the Fox's Prayer knee guards. These are meta knee guards in the game, and for the following reason: that in the regular attribute, you can get damage. You get damage to targets out of cover rolled into it, which again is the highest multiplicative attribute in the game. So it just stacks, and it also compensates because again my MK16 I got with damage to armor, so that was also a thought, so I could have damaged targets out of cover still rolled into it. And it just stacks if you get an MK16 or whatever weapon you're using with damage targets out of cover. Now, the brand set bonus gives us rifle damage for not using rifles, so not a big deal, but in the core attribute, plus 15% weapon damage, you can, if you get one, we'll go over that in actually just a sec. Again, add damage targets out of cover in the regular attribute, and then I re-rolled 10% headshot damage underneath that. If you get Fox Prayer knee guards with headshot damage, you could always re-roll that core attribute for armor if you want, but as you can see in this build, it still works really well with survivability and damage output. Now for the final gear, I'm using the Memento backpack. It's one of my favorite exotic gear pieces in the entire game. One of the reasons is in the core attributes you get all 3 core attributes of weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier, which is just insane. I have 5% extra armor with the expertise, and then a 10% headshot damage mod rolled or put into the attribute. Now why I'm using this is for the talent kill confirmed, and what that does is it has a short-term effect and a long-term effect, and we're going to go over that right now. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provide both a short and long-term buff, the first of which scales with the number of core attributes equipped and lasts for 10 seconds. So this is the short-term buff. So when you pick up a trophy that will be on the ground like kill confirmed in Call of Duty or other games you might have played, you will get plus 5% weapon damage for 10 seconds, plus 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds, which stacks, and plus 5% skill efficiency for 10 seconds. Now for the long-term buff, for every trophy collected, gain an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. Maximum stacks 30. So on top of the short-term buff, you can get plus 30% weapon damage, plus 30% skill efficiency, and plus 3% armor regeneration, which adds to our survivability that much more. So great synergy throughout the build, since we're gonna kind of be running and gunning it in people's faces. It helps with hitting your headshots and everything. Now moving on to the skills, then we'll go over the stats and then I'll show the final gameplay footage. So for the skills, once again, from the specialization we're using, the firewall specialization, it gives us access to the Striker ballistic shield, which the Striker shield is a modified version of the Crusader shield, and it essentially creates a kind of light out the front of it, and when people are in that, they will receive damage bonus per enemy of 7%. You can see that under the stats, as well as on the one I'm using, I have holstered regeneration and everything, but I forgot to put this on. I actually am going to add the damage bonus per enemy. Now it's plus 12%. So actually in the footage that you just saw, you could achieve even more damage. But how I had it set up before is just more survivability, which helps with our shield anyway. So either way works really well, but you can use that to increase our damage that much more. And then the final skill is the Reviver Hive. It's very self-explanatory. It's essentially an extra life that you can use. If you go down, you don't even have to deploy it. If you die, it will revive you, and then you get a second life. If you don't like the Reviver Hive, you can use whatever you want, like a Striker drone, Fixer drone, or Decoy are great alternatives. I just like it for that extra life, just in case, you know, situations you can't call for. Now, skill haste is disabled and everything like that, but we're going to show off the skills real quick and everything, and building stacks. So make sure to aim for the head with your AC-12, and then once you see that outer line, then that means that they're pulsed, and then you can start shooting their body. Even once they're pulsed for 5 seconds, so you can just shoot their body, and we're already at max stacks. That means I have 100% bonus armor and weapon damage. So then you can just switch to your assault rifle, and then just unload on them, and boom, it's already dead. And you can get even more damage when you take out your shield and produce, and then boom, dead once again. And that's a named enemy, so they go down really quick. Again, you can use the Liberty to build up stacks. You can see it right to the right of the weapon there. It's counting up each body shot I hit. It's all the way up to 9 stacks now, and then if I shoot them in the head, then it would consume that stack and give me my shield health back as a result, which is just crazy. So again, great synergy all around. That's essentially the build. Now let's move on to the stats. So I have 108,000 weapon damage for my assault rifle, 16% crit hit chance. Don't worry about that. You can get more if you want, but we're focusing on headshot damage for this build. 45% crit hit damage, 139.1% headshot damage. Again, if I got rid of like crit hit chance and other things, I could make that even more. 5% armor damage due to the MK16. 17% health damage, which is just nice. And then that's it for that. Now let's move on to the offensive. So I have 38% all weapon damage bonus, 10% rifle damage bonus, which doesn't matter, 41.2% assault rifle damage bonus, big, important for the MK16. Again, light machine guns we're not using, submachine guns we're not using, shotguns, plus 15% shotgun damage. Now, excuse me, sorry, still recovering as I mentioned earlier. We've already gone over the gear, talents, and brand set bonuses, and so that just leaves defense. So I have 1,590,000 armor. It rounds up to the nearest 10,000, or it just rounds up, so it's at 1.6 million there. Again, if you get a perfect roll, Fox's Prairie, you could increase that armor as well as other things I was missing in having max armor on gear pieces. So there you go. 338,000 max health, and then as well for the survivability of the specialization we're using, it gives us health on kill, which just adds to our survivability. All right, that's it for this headshot Heartbreaker build. Thank you everyone for watching. Please take care, be safe, have a wonderful rest of your day/night, and bye.